What's up, Hoops fans? Big news hitting the NBA offseason, and it's all about a gritty wing who's ready to prove himself all over again. Johnny Juzang, a former UCLA star turned solid NBA rotation player, is making a fresh start with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But this isn't your typical signing. It's a one-year minimum deal that's not even guaranteed. So what does this mean for Juzang's career? And how does he fit in a deep Timberwolves squad stacked with wing talent? Stick around, because we're breaking down everything you need to know about Johnny Juzang's new chapter and what it could mean for Minnesota's quest to take the next step in the Western Conference. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below with your take on Juzang's fit with the Wolves. Let's get into it. Johnny Juzang is one of those players who quietly made a name for himself the last couple of seasons. Coming out of UCLA, he had one of the most memorable NCAA tournament runs in recent memory. Clutch shots, relentless scoring, and a fearless attitude that helped put the Bruins back on the college basketball map. That momentum carried into his NBA journey. But unlike many college stars who instantly become household names, Juzang took a different route. He wasn't a lottery pick. In fact, he went undrafted, which meant he had to fight every step of the way to earn minutes in the league. He landed with the Utah Jazz on a two-way contract. That's the type of deal where players split time between the NBA and the G League, constantly battling to prove they belong at the highest level. Juzang's development in Utah was solid, and last season, he carved out a respectable role as a wing rotation player. Juzang averaged just under 9 points per game while playing close to 20 minutes a night. Not bad at all for someone on a two-way deal initially. What stands out most about Johnny is his scoring ability, especially from beyond the arc. He shot nearly 38% from three last year, which is well above average and definitely a valuable skill in today's NBA. But scoring isn't the whole story. Juzang's game has some layers. He can create his own shot off the dribble and has shown flashes of becoming a reliable secondary scorer. On the flip side, his defense has been a weak spot. That's been a sticking point for coaches who expect wing players to hold their own defensively, especially in playoff-level lineups. So why the Timberwolves? Utah just added Ace Bailey, a defensive-minded wing, and that pushed Juzang out of the rotation. The Jazz clearly valued upgrading defensively and felt Juzang was expendable. That's the business side of the NBA. Teams constantly tweak their rosters to fit needs and identity. Minnesota saw an opportunity. The Timberwolves have a strong core, led by Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels on the wings. They've made back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances and are hungry to push even further. The coaching staff, led by Chris Finch, wants depth, especially players who can come off the bench and provide instant offense. Juzang fits that mold perfectly as a scorer who can stretch the floor and give the Wolves some breathing room when the starters rest. But here's the catch. His contract is a minimum deal and not even guaranteed, meaning he's got to fight for his spot in training camp. There are 13 guaranteed contracts already, so roster spots are tight. The Timberwolves' wing rotation is pretty crowded. Besides Edwards and McDaniels, there's Dante DiVincenzo, Terrence Shannon Jr., Jalen Clark, and Joe Ingles, all competing for minutes. Each brings different skills. DiVincenzo is known for hustle and defense, Ingles for veteran savvy and shooting, McDaniels for length and defense, and Edwards for explosive scoring. So where does Juzang fit? Likely as a specialist, a scorer off the bench who can catch fire and change the momentum in limited minutes. But that means his role will be situational, maybe even spot minutes rather than heavy rotation. Let's break down what Juzang brings to the table and what he needs to improve. Strength-wise, his shooting is the clear standout. Stretching the floor at nearly 38% from deep is huge for spacing. And the fact that he can create shots for himself means he's not just a catch-and-shoot guy. He can put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts. This could be a weapon for the Wolves, especially if they need scoring punches off the bench. However, defensively, Juzang still has room to grow. The Wolves pride themselves on being a competitive defensive team, especially in the playoffs. Juzang's defensive lapses could limit his playing time if he can't keep up with the league's quicker, more versatile wings. The one-year, minimum non-guaranteed deal means this is a real make-or-break moment for Johnny. Training camp will be critical. He needs to showcase not just his shooting, but also effort and improvement on defense, hustle plays, and team chemistry. If he impresses Chris Finch and the Wolves staff, he could carve out a solid bench role. If not, he could end up back in the G League or looking for another opportunity elsewhere. But this is what makes the NBA so compelling. Every roster spot is earned, and players like Juzang remind us that hard work and persistence can pay off. For the Timberwolves, adding Juzang is a low-risk, potentially high-reward move. The Wolves' core is young and loaded with talent. But depth has been a question mark. Adding a reliable shooter who can create offense is a good look for their bench. With Edwards and McDaniels expected to be the starters on the wings, and the presence of solid role players like DiVincenzo and Ingles, the Wolves have built a well-rounded team. Juzang could be the X-factor if he earns meaningful minutes and brings consistent scoring off the pine. All right, NBA fans, what do you think? Is Johnny Juzang the kind of bench scorer the Timberwolves need to push past that Western Conference Finals hurdle? Or will his defensive struggles limit his impact? Let me know in the comments below. If you're excited about this signing or just love keeping up with NBA offseason moves, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives and breaking news, and share this video with your basketball squad. Johnny Juzang's story is far from over. From undrafted two-way player in Utah to fighting for a roster spot in Minnesota, his journey is a testament to hard work and determination. The 2025-26 NBA season is shaping up to be exciting, and players like Juzang add that extra layer of intrigue, the ones who hustle, fight, and keep grinding. Subject. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more NBA updates right here, and as always, keep ballin'.